Today we will discuss about section 3rd, application 1, core Java logical questions today. So what are the questions related for the sections 3rd? So here I am considering first app 1. So in the section 3 we have 3 modules as divided: app 1, app 2 and app 3. So based on that, whatever the logical questions will come, we will discuss. According to that, we will find it the correct output and how we write it, what are the logics are there. So we will cover in that. So mostly we have a section of 3 application. First app 1, I have this class. So class A, I added integer I here inside the class. So this is the instance variable, because if you are not making any static keyword inside the variables inside the class of any variables, that will be instance. So we have a static instance and local variable. So this is the instance variable. So what we are trying here in the main method, we are trying to call this I. So in main method is a static variable, static. So this method is a static method. Inside that we are trying to call instance variable. So directly without any object creations or based on the reference, we can't call this instance variable. So while based on the object, you need to create an object according to the reference, you will to call this, then only you can call. If a static variables will be there, then directly you can call inside the static method. But instance, this is the instance variable. So while you will run this program, you will get some exception. So what type of exception? Like cannot make a static reference to the non-static field. So because of that, because non-instance variable we can't access directly in this static method, so that's why we are getting this exception. And the second program which we have, first here we have to add this package, because I created in section 3 part A. So in this we have a B program. So that B program we have what is the main method. First it will compiler will go for the main method while we run, and after that we'll check there is a test. The same, this will be applicable for all, because this main method is a static method, and where we are trying to call a non-static test method. So that test method is declared inside the class B, and that is called non-static. So while we are calling this non-static, so directly we can't call this non-static to a static method. So if we'll run this one, so you'll get some compile time exception. While what will be the correct exception here? Same way, like the test method cannot make a static variables reference non-static variable from the class B test. So like that we have this one. So you will get this exception here. And the other program, if I'll consider this C program, here I am adding the package, and after that we have a class C. So class C, inside that we have again like instance integer variable, and then we have static test. So this is the static test, and inside the static test we don't have any main method. So compiler will check first main method is there or not. If not, then we have a static block is there. So this static block will go inside that static method will go inside the static method. We have int I. So what is this I? I is an instance variable. So directly we cannot call this instance variable to the static method. The same way we will get the exception, like this is not executing because we don't have any main method here. So you will get some compile exception like the same way. And others we have D. So class D will have this one, and inside that we have a main method test1, and then test2 also is there. So while you will call test1, then we have a test1 SOP, and then test2 we have a test2 SOP. But test2 first the compiler will call this static. So this is the static method. So a static method will be called, and inside that static method we have non-static method is there, that is test1. So there again some exception will come, like a compiler will not call non-static to static. And then we have this one. So this E we have a class, inside that we have a instance variable, and then a static. So a static, again we are calling this instance, so get some compile time exceptions here. So if we'll run here this program, we have a E. There is a issue in my compiler, so the same error will come. And after that we have this program. This is the F program, which I have created a class F and added the package F section 3 F1, and after that we have a static block. So this is the static block. So if you declare a static inside open close braces, that is called a static block. Inside the static block we have a test method. So that test method is non-static. So that non-static directly we can't call in this static. So that's why this is what we are considering in this section 3, how we will call this static, what are the non-static block, what are the non-static class, what are non-static variable, what is the static variable, static block, and static methods, and how we will call and execute from a static to non-static and a static to a static, like this. So this is the concept which will be happen in this. So we are considering all these steps, which will have a proper way to understand our conceptual logic. So see here, class G is there. Okay, so inside this class G we have a integer I. Okay, so main method, inside the main method we are creating this G. So we created a class object here. So class with the class name G1 equal to new G, and then after that we are calling based on this reference. So based on the reference we are calling this instance variable. So yeah, that is fine. Whatever the class name is there, based on that you need to create an object, and based on the reference, so we have G1. So based on the reference you can call any instance variable inside the static method. So right now what will be the output for G1? So G1 have an instance variable. So instance variable default value, what will be there? Because we are calling here, so default value of I is 0, so that 0 will be printed. And then we have this H class. So that S class we added the package, and after that we will go for the main method. So main method is a static. So inside that we have again H1 is new H has been created. So that main method based on the class object has created. Now they are calling this test method, because test method is non-static, so directly we can't call in this static. So we have created the object of the class, and based on the reference we are calling. So H1 is the reference. Based on the reference we are calling this test method. But test method we don't have anything, so this simply SOP will be printed here. So if you see the output here, so this will be the output here. See, hello world will come. So like that we have multiple questions which will be related for the conception of these static things, static and non-static. So here if you go for this one, so we have a package. So this package have section 3 app1 and then class created I. Inside that we have instance variable, and after that we have static block. So a static method is there. So this is a static method. So we don't have any static main method. So here a static method will be called first, and inside that we will check compiler will first call a static method, and they will create a object of this I. Here they have created object, and after that we are trying to call these variables, because instance variable directly we can't call in this static method. So we don't have main method, but compiler will try to execute this, and then we'll check. Because the static method is there, so this will be checked, and after that there is a object has been created with the class name, and after that we have a this reference. So the RV is a reference. Based on that we are calling this X. So this X will by default value will be 0, but here you will get some exception. Why? Because of we don't have any main method. So main method is required from Java 7 onwards. Without main method directly it won't work. If you have before Java 7, then this output happen like X integer value is default value is 0 will be there. And then we have this again the J. While we run this applications, compile this application, so we have a main method. So main method we don't have, so a static will be called, because we have a static method. So once a static method will call, so test2 will be called first, and inside they have created an object, and after that, based on the reference, they are trying to call the object test1. So test1 method is non-static, so that's why they are created an object, and based on the reference they call, and after that it will go for this. Then form test1 will be print, and then form test2 will be printed. But if you try to run this one, this will be J program. So here this is not running properly because of maybe my issue, but here we don't have any main method, so that's why. So just for the conceptual understanding, we created this program. And after that, what we have in this K program, so this K program will have a package we added, and after that we have a non-static instance variable, and then a static variable, a static block is there. So this is a static block. Inside that static block we can create a reference object. So based on the class, we have created one object k1 is the new k, so k1 is the reference of this, and after that, based on that, we are calling this instant I. So that is fine, declaration and all is fine, but we don't have main methods because of we will not get output in Java 7 onwards. Then here we have next program is cell, and inside that we have a main method. So main method we don't have, so first we'll go for the static block. So inside that static block created a class based on the reference L1, but here we are not calling any test1 because test is non-static method, but we are not calling here. So that declaration and all is fine, there is no compiler issue right now. So the next program which I have is M method. So M class, inside the M class we added the package, and after that we have a main method. Inside the main method, compiler will call main method. So main method we have object of M1, and inside this M1 with the based on the M reference we are calling this I value, because I is string inside this instance variable inside this M method class. So by default we'll have a output of m.i is 0, and after that again they are initializing with m.i 10. So next value will be m.i is 10 here. So if you'll see this output of this, then you will get, this is the M method. So if you click on this M, then you will get a 0 and 10 in the output. Then we have a N class. Inside this N class we added the package, and then we have instance variable inside the class. After that we have a main method. So main method will call, then N method object as created based on the N I reference as called, based on the N I instance variable is called, and after that again N2 method as created based on N2. We have again call this instance of I, and then again we have initialize both value, and then both value will be updated with 10 and 20. So if you'll run this program, you will get here this N value. So the N value is 0 0, then 10 20. Then we have others our program. So if you compile this, so we have again O object has been created in the main method. Then we have again O2 we are creating based on this reference O1, the same. So when O1 have 10, O1.i has initialized with 10, so that's O2.i also have a 10, because O2.i will have a O1 variable, a reference variable. So O2.i again 20, so what will be the O1.i? So 10 and 20 will be the output. So if you run this program here, we'll get so 10 and 20, because O1 is O1 and O2 is 10 here, and after that O2 O2.i is 20. So here O1.i, so O1.i is 20. because here what we are doing here, o2 o2 equal to o1, so both is equals we are doing. So whatever the o2 dot I value is 20, then again o2 dot I value will be the 20, o1 dot I value would be the 20. And then we have a class p, so inside this class p, edit package, main method we have, and static method is also there. So main method will call first, and after that we'll have an object create of this class. Then we have p dot I, so the p dot I will have default value will be printed. Then again p dot I initialize with 10. Then test p dot we have called because of static variable, so directly we have called. So that's p1. So here object will be initialized with 10 because pb object is 10, so this object of 10 will be printed here. So by default will be 0 and then 10. So if you see this main method 0 and 10 will be the output. The same way we have others, have queue, this queue added this package, and then we have object has been created, initialized with 10. Then see here q2 equal to, based on the q1 reference we are initialized. So whatever the q1 value will have q2, and whatever the q2 value will have q1. So q2 dot I equal to 10, q2 dot I, and then q2 dot I 20 initialize. So and then again q2 is equal to q2. So what will do the q1, q2 and q3. So first time if we run this program here q2, so this q2 is a reference variable which I have defined at 0 because q1 is 10, so q2 and q1 is 10. So here q2 value will be 10, and after that q2 you initialize, so the q2 and q3. So q3 we have q2 value, so q2 value is 20, so 20 will be q3 value, and then again q3 value, q1 value, so q1 value is already q1 value. So this, if we go for this q3 and then q1 value, so q1 value here right now is, because q2 and q2 is 20, so the q1 value will be 20 because q2 and q1 is equal. So based on this, latest value will be considered this. And then if you run this program, here we have a main method, so this main method will call, and then we have object creation of r dot I equal to 10. Then system dot out r dot I will print as a 10, then 10 will be called. So the r dot I is 10, so here 10 will be initialized. After that reinitializing object dot I equal to 20, so the 20 will be printed here. The second also p. So the 10 and 20 will be the output. If you run this, the class, so we have a public main method. So the main method we have object, and object we have a reference. Based on reference have initialized, and after that we have a SOP. So s dot I will be 30. Then again s dot test dot s dot I 30. So that 30 will be go for this test method, static test method. So static test method will have a 30, which will be called again. This will be reinitialized with x is 20 10. So the 10, and after that 10 will be printed, and then we have test2.s. so this is 10, so the 10 will be go for this, and then reinitialize with s.i. so this is .i is 20, so the output will be. So these all are related for this, like how we will call the variables and all. So see, s1.i is 30, so that 30 is printed. Then again it will initialize s1.i 30 went for this test method, so test method is x30, then again reinitialize with 10. But here we are doing in this s1.i, s1.i is printing, so s1.i is 30, and then after that 30 will initialize, and then here s1.i is 20 is reinitializing. So the 10 will not be print because here we have s1.i. so if you will go for the s1.i, so the current value was s1.i was 30. After that they reinitialize with 20. See here in this class we have a main method. So main method we created object t object, and in that instead of new object we are directly calling with the test. So the test object will be called, test method will be called, so that is a static, so that will go for the static. And after that there we have a static t type of test is there, because we are trying to create the class of t object. So based on that t type of static test is there. Inside that they are trying to create a new object t1 equal to new t and return t1. So whatever the return t1 will be value, so that object will be printed. So by default object value is in Java, Java we have default value. So while we created the default value of object, so there will have a 0. So here we are calling object.i. So object will have default value null, but here object.i we are printing, so integer default value as a 0. So directly this will be printed as a 0. Then we have a u, and then u program we have a integer I, a static u test this. So while created a class as u, inside that we have instance variable, we have static method and then main method. So main method will be called main method based on this u. Then again we are calling the test method. So the test method is static, so directly it will be called. Inside that they are trying to create a object. Once the object will be created, then based on the reference we are calling initializing the value of I. So right now I value is 20, so the 20 will be return of u1, and the same here they are asking for this object.i. So what will be the object.i value on line number 16? So if we will run this program, we'll get this output. So how you will run this? So here, so we got some not responding because of due to some. So if we'll run this program here, click here and then okay, then here 20 will be the output, because you have initialized u.i is 20, so return u1 is a 20 value, so same that will be printed. And if you have a class v is there, so this class v we have again this one. So main method will be called, and then main method will have a vtest, so that way vtest will be called, because we are trying to create an object v equal to test, so the test will be called, and inside we have a direct return new. So while they are not getting any object for that, and they have just return new. So if you run this program, you will get some compile time exception. So what type of exception and why it will be there, so that we have to see. So what is this? This see syntax error because of token new, class type expected after this token. So we have a main method. So in that main method we need to create trying to create a object of the class v. So we call here tests. So test method should have a create object, but directly they are trying to create a return for this. So we don't have any v method have returned, because syntax error of token, class type expected after this token. So here we have some expectations for there to create an object or not, so that was not there, so they got some exception. And if you run this, we have w program. So inside that we have main method. So inside main method we have w equal to new, then w.i is initialized with 20, and then again they are creating a new reference of w, creating the object, and based on the new reference they are calling the object. So object value is 20, so that 20 will go for this static w test, and then they are trying to create again object, and object will have a w2.i equal to w1.i. So that w1 has 20 value, so this 20 will be printed, and if you run this program of RB, so the RB value will be the 20. How? Because that is interchange with this, because we have W1 equal to W2, so the 20 will be printed here. And we have a class Z, so this class Z have main method inside this X. I have created one object, X2 has created new object, and X1 is initialized with 10, X2 is initialized with 20. Then test2 have two parameters, one is X1 argument, another is X2 argument, so they are calling with the X1 test. So test, we have two objects, it's been 10 and 20 has come initialized here, and after that they created one instance variable. Inside that, again object 1, whatever the object value is there, they initialize with I, and object 1 dot I equal to object 2 dot I. So then object 2 dot I was the 20 here. So now object 2 dot I is the I. So like this, and then what will be the value of X1 and X2? X1 dot I and X2 dot I. So X1 and X2 we created, so that will be interchange this. So while we are doing this, so if we run this program here, so this 20 and 10 value will be there, because again you initialize with the O2.i equal to I, O2.i equal to I, so the I value was 10, so that will be 10 is this, and 10 20. So like that we have a multiple program. So we will cover section 3, app 2 and app 3 tomorrow for this. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you. Please subscribe my channel.